So this is the card I've been working on today. Inspiration for all the rain we've been getting recently. We had a beautiful week and a half and then the rain just turned on and kept coming. And so many people complain, but I just love the rain. I love how it smells after it rains, and I love that I don't have to water my yard. And so I always feel kind of sad when people say how much they hate the rain and wish it was sunny all the time. But I like when it's rainy some of the time. So anyhow, find beauty in all things. And then I have this cute little umbrella. So I'm going to show you how I did this. We did a little bit of paper piecing, which is kind of fun. So I started out with a card base that is 8.5 by 5.5. I'm going to go ahead and get that folded. And my first layer, actually the paper that I'm using today is coming from the Echo Park This and That stack. And I have a piece that measures 5 1/4 by 4 inches, and I'm actually going to grab my Cuttlebug and do some quick embossing on that. And I thought I would use the distressed folder. Now keep in mind when you look at your Cuttlebug folders, if you see the Cuttlebug right here, this is the back of your folder. So I'm actually going to turn my piece over because I want to have my positive impression on this side. So I'm going to go ahead and line that up where I want it. Close it. B-plate, B-plate on top of an A. And we'll send that right through. And we'll be able to flip that over. That makes our lovely impression. And I'm actually going to do something with that in just a moment, but I'm going to set it aside for just a second and quickly use a Spellbinders Nestabilities. This is from what's called Lacey Circles. And the last time I used one of these, I followed the instructions in the manual, but this time I'm going to just do it my own way, the way that I prefer to do it. I'm just going to take an A plate, a B plate, the paper that I'm going to use, and with this I'm going to put this rougher side down, put it where I want it to go, and then I'm going to put a C plate on top of it. Easiest way to remember is C is for cut. Now in mine, yours may not be the same. I noticed that I do not get as tight of a feed as I'd like to get, so I'm actually going to feed one piece of cardstock through it at the same time so I get a really good tight feed. And I'll go ahead and send that through. And just to make sure, I'm actually going to send it through a second time because there's a lot of little pieces on this one that need to cut out, and I just want to make certain that I get them cut out. So I sent through twice. We can go ahead and move our Cuttlebug out of the way. And then here's my piece. A little bit harder to punch out. You'll see there's a lot of little circles. I'll just push her out. And hopefully we got all the little circles. Looks like we did. Yay! Love those little loops. And then, let me pull back some of my pieces here. Not completely in the dark. Then I used my George and Basic Shapes, and I went to page 108, and I cut out the circle at 3 inches. And if you have the Nestability circles, you know, you can just do that. So this is going to go on top just like this. But before I do that, I wanted to show you what I did with my layer that I did the distressed stripes on. So I just took a piece of paper to stick it on top of and grab some ink. I just really want it to pop up and to highlight the brown. So this is just that Clearly Better chocolate ink, but you can use whatever brown ink you want. And I'm just going to very lightly start to bring some of that to life. Just looking for a fairly even tone. And just really makes those distressed stripes just stand out so pretty. I'll go ahead and set that aside. So I have the piece that's going to go on here. And then I wanted to show you how I did the umbrella. I actually did a little bit of paper piecing this time. And what I did first was took my stamp, and this is by denim-y design, and I will give you more information on my video down below so that you can look that stamp up if you're interested. And I'm using Tuxedo Memento black ink. I'm just going to hit this with my ink, get it good and covered, and just do my best to center it. That looks about right. I'll set that aside. And then the next thing I did was I took another piece of paper from the This and That stack and actually went ahead and stamped it again. But you only need to stamp the top part of the umbrella, since that's the part that I'm going to paper piece. And I was looking for the blue and the brown, so I just found look for a spot on here, right here. It has the blue and the brown. And then I can kind of line that up and push. And then I just took a pair of, these are the Color Bee or Cutter Bee scissors, and just cut it out. These are the titanium ones. The yellow ones are like the non-stick scissors, if you're curious. And these ones are just made of titanium, which are just great for fussy cutting. And so you don't have to sit and watch me do that. I've already gone ahead and cut the little umbrella piece out, which is going to go right here. I'm just going to take a quick little zig pin with a fine tip and just give a little glue on here. Then we'll go ahead and line this up on our stamp image. Just like that. Look how cute that looks. And then I'm going to go ahead and grab a few Copic markers. The first one I'm going to use is BG13 Mint Green. I'm just going to fill in my umbrella stand here. Checking that I'm in the shot here. Love how bright the Copic markers are. And I am not an expert at all, I'm just having fun. And then I'm going to take, oh, this is BG72 Ice Cream. And then I'm just going to come to the left side here just a little bit. Add a little bit more color, kind of shade it. I'm going to go back to my BG13 and just kind of blend that in just a little bit. So it looks like one tone instead of two. And then I'm going to grab a BG10, which is Cool Shadow. I'm just going to come to the side here, kind of outline just the left here on the umbrella. Go underneath the umbrella up here at the top. Just adding a little shading. Very simple. And then we can go ahead and stick these together. Grab my ETG gun here. Line this up on my little lacy circle. Oh, too much of a perfectionist to let that happen. There we go. If you see any little stragglers. Okay, so I'm happy with that. And before I attach this to my card, I'm actually going to add a couple of quick little elements. Wanted to take some raffia and wrap some of that around. So I'll just take a little piece of tape here on the side. Go ahead and wrap that around, 3 times. And then I also want to add a little bit of twine, but before I do that I kind of need to figure out how big my impression is going to be, my sentiment. So this is the piece that I cut to go over it. And it's a little bit long right now. I just kind of wanted to get an idea of where I want my twine to go. My trendy twine or baker's twine, whatever you want to call it. It's going to come down here at the bottom. So I figure right about here. Do that one more time. Right about there looks good. And again, I'm just going to tape that in back. Always use tape if you can, because I feel like your ATG gun will just slide over it so much easier. And I'm only going to go twice this time. Placement's like the biggest thing. And we'll probably have to adjust it, but for now, let's just get it on here. Figuring about there. And then I also wanted to stick a little piece of ribbon. So I'm double checking here. So this can probably come down just a little bit more. And so I have a piece of turquoise ribbon, which of course does not match. So to make it match, I'm going to grab my Copic marker, and this was my BG72. I'm going to use the chisel edge actually, and go ahead and darken up my ribbon. And you'll find you only need to do this on one side. You can do both if you want to, but I noticed that it just kind of goes all the way through, so it works really good. Ah, flatten. There we go. Okay. Once you have that coated, you can tie a couple of knots. And I did 3 on my example, so I'm going to do the same. Like that. I felt like this just kind of helps pull some more color in there after we stick our jewels on our umbrella. Grab some more tape. A lot of elements going on this card. But I kind of wanted to show some contrast between rustic and bright colors, which kind of pulls out the sentiment, finding beauty in all things. Even though it's raining right now. Okay, so we've got this part on. And now we can also go ahead and do the little buttons that I have here at the top. And I'm not a huge fan of buttons. In fact, where did I put them? While I'm looking, there they are. And so to kind of disguise them a little bit so they don't just look like a button, I just took a little, I don't know, copper or brass colored brad and added it to my button, and I'm just going to put it on diagonally and give it a good push like that, and then just flip down the little pieces. And you can clip them if they hang over, or just fold them again. It does the same thing. I just do my best to center it as good as I can. And then I have my 2 that are going to go up here at the top. And I actually just stuck those on with pop dots, but you could certainly use a glue dot, whatever you want to use. It'll be just fine. Ahead and added those, and then I wanted to kind of decide where this is going to go. So Okay, we're going to cut that off. So I kind of measure 1, 2, 3, 4, I'm thinking 5 circles actually. Right about. So I'm thinking right about there is how I want to line this up. So I'm going to put some adhesive just on the right side when it's flipped over. Right about there looks good. And then I'm just going to flip this over. And you could use your trimmer if you want to. I'm just going to grab some scissors and trim this off. Like that. And then at this point we can go ahead and adhere this onto our card since everything that's going behind it is already on. Whoops. Double checking the spot where the buttons are to make sure that actually got some adhesive. Line that up at the top, just like that. And now I will show you how I did the sentiment. So to do the sentiment, this measures 1 1/4 by the length of the card, and then this is 1 inch by the length of the card. It's a hair bigger because I like to trim it when I'm done. So all I did was take this stamp, which is by Inkadinkado, Fine Beauty in All Things. I just took some brown ink. This just happens to be the Timber Brown Stays On, but you can use whatever you want to use. Longer, bigger stamp, so I'm going to ink it upside down so I can see that it was completely inked. And then I just did my best to center it. Just like that. And I'm only going to put adhesive down the center because on this sentiment I decided to go to the sewing machine and do a little stitching around it. If you don't have a sewing machine, you could certainly just do some dashed lines with a fine tip marker or whatever you want to do to embellish, or you don't have to do anything. And once you've done that, I didn't even go perfect. I just wanted it to be loose and fun and just give some fun embellishment. And so once I did that, I made sure all of my strings were on this side, so I pulled them through. Any of the stubborn ones, you could just, thread a needle and pull them through that way. And then I'm just going to take some tape and tape down those strings, just like that. And cut off my excess. And then I decided to pop dot up this last part here, just to give it a little bit more dimension. I'm going to add a few of those. Oops. I can hear the clock ticking. It's so quiet. The younger kids have gone to bed. So nobody is yelling or screaming in the moment. Okay. And then actually this side, I'm going to pull that over just a little bit because I know I'm going to need to trim just a hair because I made this just a little bit longer. I'll line it up with the bottom. Stick that on, and then I can flip this over and trim it. And there's our sentiment. And then to decorate the umbrella, you know me, I have to have a little bit of bling. So I'm going to guess about, I think I did 15 You might have to trim them or add more, but that's a good start. Just taking a little strip of gems that are already stuck together. I can just follow the handle of the umbrella. If you have trouble on the turn, you can always just cut your gems apart. Am I going to make it? Looks like one of them's supposed to, there we go. Okay, so now those are all on. And then I want to add 3 to kind of symbolize raindrops. Just breaking the adhesive with my scissors. Oops, this one's not sticky. Probably easier just to grab a paper piercer or something to grab these. And then if they shoot off into oblivion, I guess they'd be stuck on your paper poker thingy. Alright. So that is how I made this card. And what I love about it is because it kind of has some rustic elements as well as some shiny, shimmery things that just give it a little bit more shine. So that's how I made this card. I'm going to pull it a little bit closer so you can see it close again. And if you have any comments or questions, leave me a post. Thanks for watching. Bye.